Knowledge is power, and I think if you empower yourself with the wisdom and the things that you need to make right choices in life, you'll be the winner in the end. So I was having some just odd health problems, like I couldn't sleep at night, or I would all of a sudden just feel this need to regurgitate, and then I'd be fine, and I couldn't figure it out, and I never get sick to my stomach ever, and then the minute I would throw up, I'd be fine. So I'd been going to the doctor for probably 5 months and saying something's wrong, and they're like, oh, you work internationally, you work at HP, high stress, it's nothing. So finally they did my yearly mammogram, and they found a lump, and then they did an ultrasound and biopsied, and then they found out that I had estrogen-based breast cancer. The surgeon at the time said there's like a 3% of non-success, I guess, if you have surgery, chemo, and radiation, and the same as if you had a mastectomy. Looking back on that, years later, I'm not entirely sure that was my best option because of things that happened in the future, but at the time, you don't know that, and so I opted to go with that instead of having a mastectomies. I went back to work, grew my hair back, kind of went back to the same thing, but I did go in and see a dietitian, lost a bunch of weight, started going to the gym 6 days a week, and tried to realize, this could be a reoccurring story if I don't drastically change my lifestyle and, try to do more stuff for me, like socializing, hiking, doing some stuff like that. So kind of tried to reintroduce myself back into the real life and not just the working world. I had no work-life balance. It was like 2015, I want to say 2016. And at the end of 2015, I wasn't feeling very well again. It wasn't anything I could put my finger on. It wasn't exactly the same symptoms, but I just didn't feel right. So I kind of thought, maybe it's back, maybe it's not. And you don't want to be this, oh my gosh, panic person that, always just going to be there. So I tried not to really think about that, but I got to the point where I thought, okay, I need to go in and have this checked. So they did another mammogram, and they found another lump, and they biopsied it, and they came back and said, you have breast cancer again, but it's a different kind of breast cancer now. It's called triple negative. And, you try to educate yourself. I was really naive. I didn't know there was different kinds of breast cancer. I just thought it's like, having a cold. You have a cold, you have a cold, right? So to say you have a different kind of breast cancer, it was kind of alarming. And this, from what my surgeon told me, this cancer was more radical, harder to treat, and the possibility of it coming back were extremely strong in 2 to 5 years if you didn't have mastectomies. So at that time, I thought, okay, I got to go see Dr. Wong. So what we opted for was a bilateral mastectomies. And part of that's because then in the reconstruction process, it's easier to get them to be more uniform if you're starting with kind of a clean slate. I came to Dr. Wong and I asked him, how do we move forward with this? And he said that he would partner up with my surgeon, be in there the date of my surgery with them to make sure that they made workable cuts that they could work on long term. And then he was going to go in after they did the surgery and put in expanders and then start the process to get implants at a later date. So I went in, and I have to say that Dr. Wong's staff and his surgical team are above all others. I call them the A-team. They're really great. I just love working with them, and they're really patient, really kind. The staff's really warm and comforting. So even though you're going through this semi-traumatic process, because surgery is never easy, they made it really easy, and if I can even say fun at times, it was actually fun. It does make me nervous to put foreign things into my body. It just doesn't feel or sound right. But then when you really stop and think about it, people have hip bone sockets replaced, and my granddad had that done, and they've come a long way in the research and how some of this stuff works. So I believe it's as medically safe as it can possibly be at this point in our lives. You don't get to be 21 unless you live 21 years, right? You don't get to be 40 unless you live 40 years. And sometimes in a process, it might take a little bit of time. But if you just keep your end goal in sight and know that you have confident and professional people that will help guide you through it, whether it's physical or emotional, again, I think that you really need to do what's right for you and not to be afraid of it, and just continue moving forward. It's all you can do in life. No matter what path you choose, you just have to move forward. So educate yourself. I think it's really important. I think knowledge is power, and I think if you empower yourself with the wisdom and the things that you need to make right choices in life, and move forward in that way, I think you'll be the winner in the end.